Winners win, losers lose because of what they do, because of the work, right? We talked about Paige Beckers, who's in the plays college basketball. She tore her ACL a little while back, and then all of a sudden, right, like becomes like the best player in college basketball, one of them. And what did he say? He said before there was a world tour, right? There was a work tour. Before there was a world tour, there was a work tour. Before the world started to see her and say, "Man, this girl's really good," she was in the lab. She was working. She was in the gym working. If you saw, there was one clip in there where she had a boot on her leg. She had a boot on her leg because, again, she tore her ACL and she's lifting weights, right? That's the work. In the dark, are you working? Are you working right now before you hit your stage, before you hit your platform, before the world gets to know your greatness, your talents, all that you have? Are you putting in the work to build your character right now? Because that's what it's about. It's about building your character. It's about building the capacity you need to handle the life that you're asking for. The reason you're on this call is because you're asking for something more. You're asking for more of something in your life, more financial success, more health, more good relationships, more whatever that is in your life, more business success, whatever it is. You're asking for more. So you have to now become more. You have to become more in order to get to that life. It doesn't just come, like you have to become so that you can achieve that. And so that's the process. That's the work tour. That's what we're doing on these calls. That's what you should be doing every single day, is working on yourself. It's growing, it's learning, it's becoming. It's not about what you do, it's about who you're becoming. And so if we can become more, we can have more. And that was the essence of what ET was talking about. You got to start not caring about what other people think. Again, we've had this conversation a bunch on these calls. We care too much about what other people think. You care too much. And again, people that have a big heart, of course, we care for people. We love people, right? Of course, we have that side of us. But other people's opinions of us should not dictate what we do. Other people's opinions of us should not dictate how we move in life or what we do. If you already have a good heart, if you're already a good person, then obviously you're not going out there, right, doing things that are not moral and ethical, and right, you're not taking advantage of people. But when someone has an opinion, that shouldn't change what you're doing. It shouldn't. I learned this a long time ago when I started putting out content on social media. 50% of people are going to love you and 50% of people are going to hate you. It's just the way it goes. That has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with who I am as a person. That's them. So we have to stop caring so much about what other people think about us and our journey and what we choose to do for work and who, right, how we choose to communicate, whatever those things are. That's what ET said. You got to stop caring for the applause of people. I think I heard Gary Vee say this one time. If you live for the applause of people, like, you'll die from the criticism of people. If the things that you do in life, you're motivated by other people clapping you on, then when people start booing, you're going to be devastated by that side. So not too high on the highs, not too low on the lows. You don't do it for the applause of men. You don't do it for the applause of people. You do this because you are becoming better. You are becoming more. That's what you're doing it for. So that's the number one thing he said. Second thing he said is time to get in the lab. That means it's time to get to work. It's time to work on it. If you know you have a challenge, work on it. If you know the proverbial thorn in your side, if you understand that you have a thorn, work on it. Work on it. Right? Be aware. Don't shy away from it. Don't turn a blind eye to it. Don't say that's just who I am. That's not who you need to be in order to get to the life you want. So these are the things we have to remember. In 177 Mental Toughness Secrets, it says champions evolve from proving themselves to expressing themselves. It's very similar to something ET was talking about. Proving themselves is caring about the opinions and the applause of others. It could be you're proving yourself to yourself, right? Like you're proving you right or proving you wrong or whatever it is. But most times it's proving yourself to other people, to your coworker that said that business doesn't make any money, to your parents who said you'd never be able to go do that in life, to whatever, you're proving yourself. But you want to be at the world-class level, you want to be at a champion level, you have to go from proving yourself to just expressing who you are, expressing yourself. Here's what it says in the text. It says, amateur performers are often driven by a need to prove themselves to themselves and other people. This need can easily become an addiction for a person who craves acceptance and validation from the outside world. Professional performers evolve to a higher level of consciousness where outside approval is no longer necessary. Champions will still enjoy the accolades and acceptance of people they respect, but are no longer motivated to take action to achieve this acceptance. The great ones are often motivated through self-expression, by the need to share their unique talents and abilities with the world. Abraham Maslow, a follower of humanistic psychology, said it this way: in order for human beings to reach self-actualization, they must become all they can be. In order for human beings to reach self-actualization, they must become all that they can be. The writer must write, the painter must paint, the salesperson must sell. The world class doesn't do these things to please other people, gain notoriety, or get rich. They do it because it expresses who they are to themselves. In essence, champions learn who they are in an act of self-expression and often choose to share themselves with the world. The act of proving oneself is based in ego and rooted in fear of not being good enough. The act of expressing oneself is based in spirit and rooted in rooted in the love of wanting to share and celebrate a person's uniqueness and inner beauty. Proving oneself is a process that must be forced onto others because of the attachment the performer has to the outcome. Expressing oneself is a natural process that has no attachment to anything or anyone. The more praise they get, the more they need to feel good about themselves. Expressing oneself creates feelings of fulfillment in the act itself, regardless of any outcome. It's one of the reasons the great ones are more mentally tough than their amateur counterparts. Where are you? Are you still at the place of proving yourself to others? Or are you at the place of expressing yourself, of your spirit-based, rooted in love, wanting to share who you are with the world? I was sharing this with somebody that I'm coaching, right, on the financial side and on the business side. And I always tell them, like, man, you have a really good message that people need to hear. I was like, you need to share your message with the world every day. If you are not talking to the world every day, if you are not giving of yourself and expressing yourself every single day, you're limiting your ability. Just had this conversation with him last week. I was like, you have to express yourself. People need to hear it. You only say things in a small silo with your friends, people like me, like you're talking, but you need to express yourself to the world. Share your unique talent, share your inner beauty, share your knowledge. Like you need to express yourself. But the reason many people don't, and he was in this category, is because he cared too much about what other people might think. He holds a high position in education. He's like, if I start talking this way, they may lay me off. I may not have the same connections. He was allowing other people's opinions of him to dictate how he expressed himself in the world. This was case in point why he has to shift that mindset, shift the way he thought about this so that he can go from, right, appeasing people, having people's validation and their praise, to saying, I'm expressing myself because I know what I have is good and I know people need to hear it. This is, again, Abraham Maslow on here. In order for human beings to reach self-actualization, they must become all they can be. That's what this is about. The more you express yourself, the more you become who you're called to be. If you don't know this yet, back to ET's video. Get in the lab. Figure out what it is you want to do. Figure out what it is that you're called to do. Figure out what it is you're here for. Figure out what it is that you want to express. Figure out who you are. Figure out exactly what you want to make happen. And then spend every day working towards that so you can become the person. Again, it's about becoming. You can become the person that has the capacity to handle the life that you're asking for. But this is about not proving yourself, not caring about the applause of men, not waiting on people to say, hey, great job. Hey, I knew you could do it. Again, those things are great from people you respect. We all need an encouraging word here and there, but that's not why you are waking up. You're not waking up for the approval of other people. You're not waking up to do it so that you can prove to your spouse that you can do it, or prove to your parents, or prove to your boss, or whatever the case is. This is where we have to have the shift in thinking. What's the thesis of these calls? If you change your thinking, you change your life. If you change your belief system around something, your life will change. If you change your perspective on something, your habits start to change. So then you can get a different outcome. The outcomes won't change if you keep thinking about things the same way. So maybe this is a place of self-reflection today. Maybe this is a place today that you have to sit back and say, you know what? Do I care too much about what other people think? Am I really doing this for the validation and the accolades and the acceptance outside of, right, outside of my person? Or am I sitting back and saying, this is who I am, who I'm becoming, what my talents are, and now I'm going to start expressing myself to the world. I'm going to start sharing more of who I am and who I'm becoming to the world. We have to sit back and evaluate these things. Sometimes, again, you guys know, we don't always take the time. We don't always take the time to sit and reflect on these things. This is why I'm always going to encourage you to spend that 15 minutes, that 30 minutes alone by yourself in reflection, in meditation, in prayer. Like actually, like take time to think about what you're thinking about. Take time to really evaluate, are these things that are controlling my life? Can't remember if it was Monday or Friday, right? We talked about the fears that people have that ultimately control their life, that ultimately dictate their habits, their viewpoints, their actions, their behaviors, which lead to the outcomes that they can't see further up ahead because fear clouds them. Well, these are little things that also will cloud our thoughts, cloud our thinking, cloud our vision, so that we potentially can't get to that life that we want to design. So that's why I put this in front of you, because we all have to do this work. We all have to continue to work on going from proving ourselves to expressing ourselves. We all have to work on finding out exactly who we are and becoming all that we can be. It's an internal game. Nothing external should be able to mess with the internal game. Here's what this quote says by Steve Siebold. It says, the ego-driven middle class and upper class are out to prove themselves. The spirit-driven world class wishes only to express themselves. One struggles against the current while the other floats peacefully down the river. The action step for today says, ask this critical thinking question. Are you out to prove yourself or express yourself? What E.T. said in the video, are you still living for people's approval? Are you still living for the applause of men, for the recognition, for someone to pat you on the back and say, hey, you did a good job. Hey, you're doing it right? Or is this an internal thing? Are you focused on you taking the responsibility for you and becoming better? And then are you getting to work? Are you getting to work? That's what it's about, ladies and gentlemen. We can talk about this stuff all day long. We can talk about it every morning. We can come on here and have the conversations. I could drop something into your spirit that says, you know what? He's right. I probably should pay attention to it. But as soon as we get off this call, how's your day going to go? What are you going to do that's different today than you did yesterday? What did you hear today that you say, you know what? Let me grab that and let me apply it. I always tell you guys the saying, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power, right? Just having the knowledge, we all know things, but do we do what we know? Do we do what we know? Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. And so now once you have this knowledge, once you have the information, once you know, hey, I probably need to pay attention to some of these things. I probably need to spend a little bit more time with myself. I probably need to change my schedule around a bit so I can actually have some quiet time to really evaluate, to write some things down, to get clear on where I'm going. Do you actually go do it? If not, I challenge you to do that today. Always do something that scares you, do something that pushes you out of your comfort zone. Nothing good grows inside of our comfort zone. Everything you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. Everything that you want in life. I love you guys. I want y'all to win. You deserve to win. If no one ever tells you that, you'll hear it from me all the time. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm on here. I'm going to tell you, you deserve to win. Your families deserve to win. You deserve to get to the life that you don't need a break from. You deserve to design your ideal life. You deserve it. But now we got to work. And if you remember every single day that you got to put in the work and you can have anything, you can be anything, you can become anything you want, and then you start to apply that in your life is going to change. It's a great thing. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, y'all. I'll see you again on Friday. Take care.